Hey guys, what is going on? So Inferno pistol round strategies. I want to start with something more basic. So we've gone for a holes bust from Faze. I'm going to end up with something a little bit more intricate from Team Liquid towards the B side. I want to start with something relatively basic because I know a lot of you do play in 5-man lineups, but you also probably play pugs. And this is a great strategy that we can call a variation of, just with 4 random teammates straight off the bat. And basically what's going to be is players gathering into the holes. You can see Nico's obviously also fighting towards Banana. And it's just going to be Guardian, the utility man, flashing over this apartment area. And you're going to see these players basically just bust out these holes, overwhelm the players in pit and on the site. And a smoke's going to come out after the flash from Guardian to stop any of those rotations coming in from Strats in this instance. So let's start off talking about these players who get themselves into holes. And this is the reason I say it's such a good strategy for a pug, is you can literally say to your teammates, guys, go take apps, go to the end of holes, I'll flash you out, and you're going to see the rest is going to take care of it. There are smaller details we'll go into for if you are playing in a team, and I'll talk about them now. And it's more of the pathways these players take. So you can see they're all just taking holes together relatively simply. Carrigan is watching the back for a little bit. Olofmeister very close to Rain here, ready to bust out. And as this flash does come out from Guardian, I want to show you the pathway. So Rain's going to jump out and strafe in here towards Dig. And you can see if anyone was on the site in this instance, such as from this camera angle I've decided to choose, if you're strafing out there, that's a very hard shot for this player to hit. And obviously your crosshair is going to automatically follow the first player out of the apartments. It also helps, go back to Rain's point of view, he clears this diggity or short area if you're not from Australia, which allows Guardian, after clearing archers, to come back up and join the rest of the fight. So if we look back at these pathways, we can see the first player obviously strafes back towards the short area to help Guardian get up and also just distract the CT players who maybe aren't blinded from this flash. The second player is going to come out of apartments and he's just going to jump out and get ready to clear this pit. And then the third player is going to be up here kind of creating an Overwatch kind of scenario. He's going to be the one pivoting to wherever needs the most attention and just basically staying up there, always having his gun out, because obviously you are a little bit vulnerable in the air despite being hard to hit by the USPs in this scenario. So relatively simple, the pathways as I explained there, and just like that the pit guy is going to probably be white from the flash, the guy on site probably as well, and you're probably going to swarm such as you can see Faze did in this particular scenario. Now, before we look at Nico's point of view, I want to go back to Guardians and talk about exactly how the strategy works. If we look at the map, you can see there's no real mid-wall or brackets pressure out from Faze in this scenario. So if a team like Strats was playing there, there's not a great indication that any A hit is actually coming in. I think this is the reason why Guardian decides to throw his flash first as opposed to a smoke. Other teams such as Liquid will actually throw the smoke first. You can see here, I'm just going to quickly edit it in somewhere. They actually throw 2 smokes first and run a very similar execute, nice little holes bust as well. But this scenario, Guardian, I think he wants the element of surprise, wants to flash first and then follow it with the smoke. So we'll see the flash over. This is the lineup like so. He's basically standing underneath this pot. It's just going to be a running jump throw. And the smoke as well in this corner here. So right against the edge of this wall, as you can see. And I think Guardian slightly misses this. It's actually to the top left corner of that rectangular pot plant you can see. And then as Guardian comes up, obviously he's going to check that arch side, which is dirty in this scenario, and then he's going to come up and join Rain in entering the site, swinging out nice and wide, and he decides he wants the USP in this scenario. And last off we have Nico. He has the P250, he's fighting towards top mid, obviously an area where a lot of CT players think they have the USP advantage, they want to try and get some information, such as Strats did. Same thing towards Banana, and that's why he has been dropped this P250 by Guardian. You notice Guardian only has 1 flash and 1 smoke, so there's this spare little bit of cash for Nico. And Nico, being one of the best aimers in the world, is a great player to be taking these fights and really forcing these players back. And you see what this does to Zip. Makes it a little bit more difficult for him to try and get information because he knows his P250 is coming his way, and if he overextends, he's going to get pushed off or potentially punished by it. And Nico, he's going to be the one. I'm not sure if this is particularly part of the strat or just within the chaos. Nico thinks, all right, if they're an arch player, they're probably trying to rotate in to help out the pit player. He's going to come out here and just find his timing as this smoke pops towards Mini and Device is caught off guard. Yeah, probably one of the easier kills Nico's ever had. So that's Nico's point of view, basically just stopping any flank or Astralis getting too much information for an over-rotation. You can see on the map right now, they actually had 2 players here because they couldn't rotate off that fast. They did end up rotating off, but Nico, just applying that little bit of pressure towards top, mid, and Banana, just denies that little bit of information, which could be important for the CT side. But that out of the way, that's basically the holes bust, all different variations, simple one for your pugs, or all these little details you can definitely throw in, such as the pathways, if you are in a 5-man lineup. Now onto that B execute I referenced earlier from Liquid. You would have heard right there, there's a flash over the top nice and early to ensure this banana control anyone peeking up nice and fast. You can see the pick onto Glaive always helps. And after they get this banana control, they're set up relatively quickly. You can see even with Strats instantly rotating on the map, it's going to be a Molotov towards his cause position. You can see it forces Zipex back away in towards that construction area, a flash over the top, and of course a smoke in towards CT. And it's a simple swarm onto the site. But I really enjoy this Molotov, and I'm going to explain it more in a second. So let's talk about the timing of all this, because this is probably the most impressive thing about the entire take from Team Liquid, is everything seems to be timed down to the T. First thing being this flash, and it's a flash over towards the top part of Banana. You can see Naf is already up at this broom or this cutout in towards Banana here. So if anyone is peeking it nice and wide from Astralis or any CT defender, they're going to be white in this scenario, allowing Naf to push up even further. Or if they're playing a little bit more passive, such as Glaive is here, you can see he avoids this flash, but obviously he doesn't have the same ability to be peeking the top of Banana down that car, or I don't know what you would call them, those barrels at the top of Banana now. So if no one's peeking there, you're probably going to have a relatively good time coming up if you're the T side players. You can see, try to go a little bit later, such as Glaive does here. That's how Naf manages to find that first pick into the round. So I like the early flash out from Team Liquid. It's a bit of a commitment, as you don't have a lot of utility on these pistol rounds, but one, when you ensure this banana control is definitely something, especially when you're going for this big B execute. Pretty difficult with that banana control, right? And you can see, as I pointed out before, it's very telegraphed what's going on right now. These two players are rotating over straight away, leaving just the single player in Magisk at A. That's how confident Astralis are that this is some kind of B hit. Obviously, the pick coming out from Glaive is going to be a good indication that they're probably going to continue on towards this B site. Now, continuing with the timing, important to note, obviously they get this execute off before any rotations can come in, and the whole execute's like so. This is going to be Alesia's Molotov. I'll go through all the point of views just after this, so break down a little bit slow. I just want to talk about the timing of it all right now. And as this is going on, we're going to see multiple players peeking out towards CT for Nitro just to smoke it on the fly so that it pops as fast as possible. And to understand the timing of this entire take, it's probably best to look at it from Zipex's point of view. And as we let this Molotov fly in towards Zip, you can see it pops right there. And as that Molotov pops, we're also going to see this smoke just about to pop in towards CT. So they pop it basically the exact same time. But notice Team Liquid, they're already out, ready to fight this position. If Zip decides he wants to fight in this scenario, he takes a little bit of body shot damage, or he doesn't want to fall off his coil straight away. Say maybe he wants to strafe in towards the site. Maybe on the rare occasion, CTs are playing one in new box. Maybe he has another teammate there. He wants to get on the action, try and help out. He's going to be caught completely in the open by Naf, and he's going to have no option to retreat if he doesn't retreat straight away. So notice Zip, he has 100 points of health. We saw him fall off that coffins basically ASAP. He's going to be straight away backpedaling. I want you just to notice his HP as I continue to explain this one, because I'll be continuing to pause it. Now basically, as soon as he smokes, Nitro's going to be following up with this flash over the site. And you can see that pops there. Good for CT, good for anyone coils maybe continue to face, anyone maybe peeking at backside, although the roof could potentially protect them. It's going to basically pop as Taco's already running up, getting ready to face this site. And you can see Dupree's full blind, and this all happens so quickly for the CT defenders. Zip, as I said, he's down to 76 points. He lost 25 points of health, even though he fell back pretty much instantly off that coil. So you can see if he decides to stick around, maybe even for half a second or a second more, he's really putting himself in a very difficult position where he's going to take a lot of damage from that particular Molotov. And basically this stage, the site belongs to Team Liquid, and any CT defender such as Strats are forced to play a little bit more of a retake scenario. So you can see as these players come in, they're pretty focused on towards the site, spamming that CT. And obviously at this point, you'd expect a player doing what Zip is on your screen right now, holding this coil's line, Molotov, not a smoke, so you can see straight over it. But even in this scenario, these players are ready to double peek. You can see Taco jiggles a little bit, he peeks out maybe half a second earlier, but again, I think it's pretty good in this scenario. You can see Naf, he's ready to peek a little bit higher, and the trade does eventually go his way. Despite him missing the jump, he continues to push. Dupree punishes that particular player. Still a 3v3 with the bomb down. Naf probably didn't have to continue pushing, but again, this is really nitpicky if you're going to go into stuff like that. We're interested in the execute itself. And by the time that happens, I mentioned the fact that Alesia has a spare smoke, so that any CT defender trying to come through CT, well, they're going to be blocked off. So Alesia does his Molotov initially. He stays banana, so he's a player who's relatively out of harm's way because he can re-smoke that CT position, making things all that more difficult for these players. As we've said, it's pretty common to play a retake scenario such as we saw Strats did in this scenario. Even if Glaive doesn't get that pick, it's probably pretty common. It's my favorite part of the strat, by the way. Nice little knife from Twist on towards Nitro. Just, you know, you win the round, but still my favorite part. And that's pretty much it. That's the timing of all. You can see how any player playing coils such as Zip is forced back away. He can't really challenge. So anyone who is playing in the site such as Nubox or Coil, they're going to be struggling, overwhelmed by Glocks, especially after those two players double peeked on towards the Coil's position. We saw Zip holding from as they entered the site there. Alright, so the POVs, we'll start with the two util guys. Nitro is going to be aiming himself right there. You can work it out yourself. Crosshair speaks for itself. Obviously, the end of this railing going into T-Apps. It's going to be a jump throw. As we already said, gets those players nice and fast in towards Banana. Small detail, jumps across middle. Doesn't want there to be any chance at all of them getting killed, maybe by a stray headshot coming in. Now, this point's where I think maybe they had a different execute, because this smoke from here is a spot you can do a CT smoke from. So maybe they were doing something more set up initially, but after getting this pick, they decided to go a little bit faster. I kind of like the one where you go a little bit faster, you peek out, give the CTs less time to react. And you can see how they peek onto it all together. There's the flash as well. And it's pretty self-explanatory, Nitro's POV. He enters the site, and he's going to be with the one with the bomb. Plants basically as soon as he possibly can, and then the afterplant decided to take. He just doesn't really want to cross this. He does end up jumping across because they definitely need it for this afterplant positioning, especially once Banana goes down. It's good for them to be able to peek out. And I really like this as well. Once they get this dink on towards Dupree, they continue to push him with this man disadvantage because they want to get out here nice and fast, try and even these numbers up in a 2v2 and give themselves as good a chance as possible. You'll see from Twist's point of view that they were double peeking that together, coming in and fighting, and Magisk is basically forced off the bomb, knowing he's going to die before you saw what happened to Nitro in the end. The other utility man, as you saw, was Alesia. He's one of those players going nice and fast up towards Banana. Again, notice how they're looking into the wall, trying to avoid a lot of these flashes if possible, and it's a pretty simple run up in the end. They're taking over Naf once he gets that initial kill, but you see multiple of them to clear top Banana. And this is the Molotov you're probably interested in. You saw the lineup there. The lineup, it's pretty self-explanatory. Again, you guys can definitely work it out. And that Molotov again goes straight over towards Coil. Before, as I said, Alesia doesn't do a whole lot here. He just pins up on these angles, maybe anyone trying to run through, before sticking himself back here in Banana because he has this re-smoke, which is crucial. He's the one watching the flank, and that's his job. And you can see, as that bomb goes down, it's pretty much his cue to start smoking, and he decides he wants to take this fight in the end. But that's his job pretty much done. That re-smoke, I really enjoy, because it makes that retake, as we said, so much more difficult for Astralis. Now the three players, as we said, are the players with the armor. They're basically going to be your entry men on towards this execute. We're going to look at we're going to pivot between the POVs as to who's more important. So Naf, again, avoids that flash. Just notice his crosshair placement, nice and sharp towards the corner. Knows that the flash would force them back there, so he knows exactly where to pre-aim. And that's how Glaive gets taken out so easily. So going to continue up here, and again, Naf's going to be the player peeking CT a little bit before the others. You can see he peeks out nice and wide. We'll just get that line for Nitro to smoke before swinging out here. And you can see Taco, just on your screen there, he ran up nice and early. He turned away from that flash, and this is the double peek. There's Taco peeking, and then there's Naf peeking as well. So their roles, Taco and Naf, are pretty similar in this one. Twist is going to be this third player into the site, presumably. Again, probably your star player. Some would probably argue Naf. So it's good to have one of these players alive coming in third, Naf as well. That's why Taco's going in first. That's his job within the team. And again, in the 2v2, I love how they fight this one together. And just the coordination at the very end here. I want you to notice how they double peek back out here towards cause. See that? One jumping up, one player peeking nice and close. It's going to result in Device having a very difficult time before they work out. Not just because of the bomb, but I'll knife my teammate anyway.